Good morning, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 in the 1% Club. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you guys are following your goals and purposes. And you guys had a great weekend. I did do a couple over the weekend, so I hope you had a chance to listen to those. Great comments again. I did get a chance to catch up, so let me go ahead. First, thank you guys for all the subscriptions, comments, likes, donations. We're up to 870, something like that now, and so we are getting better and better each time, and I appreciate it. I'm very grateful to all you guys that are kind of pitching in, giving ideas as well. Let me just kind of do some shout outs here. JD, thank you for your comment. Braveheart 576, saying the stuff is real. We're going to talk about that one day as well. Giovanni has several. Thank you, Giovanni. One of the things that I want to kind of talk about today a little bit in our King Uche one is that Giovanni's comment about science and how, is this, why are they telling us the opposite of what we should? And we'll talk about that a little bit as well. Flex Williams, thank you for your comment. Orca, thank you. Dr. Von Life Investing, thank you, my friend, for yours, as always. High Place Studios at 1 year. Congratulations. Keep going, my friend. Eduardo, several great ones from Eduardo. Good emotions flowing through chakras. I'm going to talk about that one a little bit soon as well. Krita, I think that's how you pronounce it. Thank you. Nana the Soul, DSM Tech, Instagram ad. I'm not sure about it. See, I'm not very good at technology, so I'm not sure what Instagram ad is. So I'll have to kind of look into that. Nathaniel Stedman, thank you for your comment. Thomas Van Der Smam, thank you for your comment. Levi Sim, Optical Man, Oscar HVD 4, thank you. Willem, thank you for your comments. Robert, SB subtitles, I'll have to look into that as well. I'm not very good, guys, at some of this stuff, so I do the best I can with it, but I'll find out. Francisco Vincente, thank you so much for your comments. Esir Murray, thank you for your comments. Some stuff that we're going to kind of work on that I got from over the weekend. As I said, the stuff is real from Braveheart 576. Good emotions flowing through chakras. Not transmuting can cause you a drainage. That's a good one as well. And the positive effect of heat and cold shock. That's also something we'll focus on. Still thinking about the brain and temptation. Sim, yes, that's another good one we'll talk about. The best feeling is joy and peace. I agree with you, Eduardo. Wonderful. We'll talk about that one a little bit. Optical Man had one talking about a master reflection for people who have unresolved issues, and that's what you are when you're on semen retention. I agree with that, and we'll talk about that one. Giovanni, how does SR really help attract women? We'll talk about that a little bit. That'll be some future ones. Oscar, can someone feel the intimidation, fear? It's like you've seen a ghost. Yes, and very true. And it can be awkward, Robert, and that's another one we'll talk about. So I got about 12, plus I had about 30 on the other page. So we'll kind of focus a lot on these as we go through. And once again, I appreciate all your comments. I appreciate everything you guys are saying, and a lot of positive type of feedbacks. So King Uche had one, and I'm a little bit behind, but I'm trying to catch up a little bit, asking about business success. So let's talk about this a little bit and kind of do it in the context of everything that we've been kind of talking about. All right, so when we talk about this whole retention thing, let's go back, and I'll add Giovanni's comment as well in this, because Giovanni was kind of mentioning the idea that, okay, modern science tells us we should be, letting go of our energy and all that kind of things for a while. As I have gotten older, and 61 years, I have begun to realize that not everything that people are telling you in the media and the other things is accurate. And we've had that really come to the forefront over the last 4 or 5 years especially. But when it comes to the idea of semen retention, there are people who are ethical, and then there's unethical people. And you're going to see a lot of people telling you things because they're unethical and they want to have a motive behind it. Now, all I can say, and I, Giovanni, I have felt like this for 50 some years, right? 57, 58 years. I was more afraid to go ahead and do any and not to release because I thought it would hurt my prostate and all this other kind of stuff and have negative health reactions. Well, that's not really what's happened. And we're talking about tomorrow will be 900 days of, not releasing any energy. And so when you have that many days, you would think, well, there's going to be other issues, right? But this, if you go back to history a little bit, this was never something talked about a long time ago. This is something that's new over the last, 40, maybe 50 years, that we've talked about this kind of problem that people have. And a lot of it's because of the visual pictures and images that we see on TV, on radio, on internet, all these type of things all the time. And as you talk about this type of stuff, it's very difficult for people to resist it, and it affects their brain, and it affects our brains. And so as time goes on, if you get away from it for a while, you're not going to have that urge to go ahead and release 4 or 5 times a day. And so I think, Giovanni, you have to kind of think through this a little bit, and everybody's got to come to this at their own pace and realization. And so when you realize that you are not supposed to go ahead and release all the time, because that's not something that Bible talked about, or else it would have been something that we've been doing for years. I mean, human beings have been human beings for thousands of years. You would think that this be a problem. It's not a new age type of thing. Why wasn't this talked about all these centuries? Well, it's because there's a certain type of an agenda that are out there, and I believe part of it is that they want to have men to be demasculized. And when you're demasculized, all of a sudden now you're not the same person, and you can't protect your country, you can't protect people. And I think this is also an idea for people to make money. They can make money on things like Viagra and all these other kinds of things that are out there, so they can go ahead and sell things. So you need these things. And I think a lot of times the health industry, focuses on a lot of this stuff because they can sell more. They can sell more, make more money, get people to keep people, not happy, or keep people that are sick, and so they'll go to keep treating people. And I really fully believe, and I've learned this over the last 3-4 years now, that you can be very healthy. You just got to watch what you're eating. You just got to exercise, do these exercises I'm talking about, and I think you're going to be very successful. Now now we talk about success. Let's go to King Uche now. And he was also talking about business success. Let's talk about why that also is something that can be affected by your semen retention. Well, let's look at this. So if you're talking about business success, most times, as we talk about with the universe, you're going to get the universe, and God in this case, is going to work with you because you're now in flow with God. And I think we had a couple people talk about flow and energy. Maybe Eduardo said it, I think. And this is very accurate, in my opinion. When you're talking about flow and energy, when you're now working with retention, you're trying to hold in all your energy, you're not trying to let all your energy go, all of a sudden now you're kind of in tune with what's happening in the world. And now nature, God, flows to you, then away from you. Now, how does this affect business? Well, you're going to have opportunities. And business success comes a lot easier because now you see the opportunities. You also draw people to you. There's an attraction people have subconsciously because you're retaining, because you are strong. And strong also allows itself to show in other ways, like confidence level, greater focus, working harder. All these are tremendous attributes, especially in the business world and the relationship world. And let's face it, a lot of business is relationships. People knowing each other, people trying to get along with each other, avoiding conflict in the workplace. All these things occur, and these can occur a lot greater because of the self-control you exhibit. And who doesn't want a leader who is calm under pressure, who is trying to get things done under pressure? Of course you want a leader who does that, right? You want somebody that's going to be able to kind of keep their wits about them and have control once you're, once you're, once you have a stressful situation. So I think that when we focus on this and realize that all these benefits of retention allow you to not only gain opportunities, almost like a magnet, but you're also somebody then who has a lot of self-control, a lot of energy to work hard, a lot of self-discipline, a lot of focus, and a lot of ability to be able to really be someone who can be a leader. And that type of person is hard to find. And nowadays, now it wasn't always the case back in the old days, because we didn't really have a problem with all this sort of thing. We didn't have a problem with retention and people just, losing energy, 4 or 5 times a day, especially our younger people. But now we have this issue. It's a little different situation. It's hard to find people that have that retention. And this is why it stands out so much. But you're not going to be able to hang on to it, right? If you continue to be tempted and fall into that temptation. Now, is the world just going to go ahead? Is the evil one just going to go ahead and say, okay, go ahead, I'll let you go? No, the evil one's going to continue putting things in front of you. And the business success is a great way to, be successful and make money, but also realize the traps inside of that. Again, once you have money, once you're successful, especially on retention, I know that Leo and a bunch of people have put a bunch of stuff out about how they've been an attraction of late, and how women come out of the woodwork and just kind of talking with them and everything. And that is going to happen. Now, you add that on to being successful from a business standpoint, and your potential goes way up, and all of a sudden now you have tons of females giving you attention. Now, the idea then, once again, is to pick the right one that's going to help you in your goals, and not just because they look the best, but because they are the best person for you. And that's a hard decision, but that's something that you can do easier if you're on retention. If you're not on retention, it's a little more difficult to be able to make that decisive decision, because you're kind of caught up in all the emotions, especially as you're losing your energy. You become a lot more anxious, and you become a lot more flying off the handle and things like that. So there's a lot of interesting things when it comes to this. But when we talk about the business aspect of things, you can make money, you can be successful, you can get positions, because you're under a high level of self-control. People see that. They may not know what it is about you, because they may not believe in semen retention. I think there's lots of people out there. I was talking to a person yesterday about this, and they just don't understand it. And I think we had that, maybe it was Giovanni who said this as well. They don't understand how does semen retention draw people. We'll talk about that for a second here while we're talking about business. Now, how can semen retention draw you in? Well, let's think about this for a second. When you are a person who has, as a kid, you had toys, right? You had toys that were nice toys, functional toys. You liked them for a while, but then you went to the store and you saw this shiny new toy, and this just kind of stood out to you. We've all had this example as a kid, right? You see this shiny toy that looks great, looks really nice. You want that toy because that is a shining example of what toys should be. And that's kind of what we're talking about here with people. You are, with semen retention, you are the person who's holding all your nutrients in. Now, that's kind of, once again, another odd term when it comes to modern science, because modern science doesn't recognize all of this, but you can feel it. I mean, how many people have said something on this channel, in the feedback, that talk about how successful they are now as compared to before? Now, you could say this is a placebo effect, and I don't have any researchers saying it's not a placebo effect, but it just happens too many times. This is one reason why I'm doing a longer streak, to see this. And I think we had a few people talking about that they wanted to continue seeing longer streaks to kind of see what happens. I think you end up seeing greater benefits. They're not going to be as dramatically increased because you're getting used to those. But you see benefits all the time, every day. And for almost 900 days, I've seen these benefits. So when we talk about this whole idea of success, we're going to realize that this is really real. And I think we had this, I'm not sure who said it. Who said this? Let's see. Who said this? Braveheart. I'm sorry, Braveheart 576. Braveheart 576 says this stuff is real. Well, that's the whole thing that we have to get our hands around and our face around. I didn't think this was real. For 58 years, something like that. I didn't think it was real. And so why would I bother to really commit to it? But I finally said, I have nothing to lose because I wasn't getting the results I wanted. And I knew there was results there because I had read the Fountain of Youth book, and I said, okay, well, it's time to do this. And it was my time in my life to do this. And I am so grateful and happy that the Lord has given me the opportunity to be in this 1% club with this. Because the whole thing is that this stuff is real. And this used to be real, used to be a common type of practice back many years ago. But because there's, to my mind, all this out there about people wanting to make money, actually rather having you not healthy than healthy to be able to make money. And so they don't want people to be basically healthy. And I think this is the whole key to realizing that, well, something's wrong. And if you have to go back to the old philosophy to say, okay, let's go back and let's stop doing this for a while and see what happens, well, you do. You do see what happens. You know? And the whole thought and idea then is the idea that you're trying to protect your own power. And you're losing power. Because you know you become weaker. You know things happen after you have intercourse. You know this happens. You know that you get affected by this. And so why wouldn't a business situation, why wouldn't you be a lot more successful if you have your full power? You know, you're that shiny new toy. People want to have you in the company. You're a good role model. You got good values because you have discipline. You know, you're kind of, you have a good image. You're physically, you look great. And all these things come into play when it comes to having an image for that company to sell services or products. And you're going to be a good spokesperson for that product. So a lot of opportunities, a lot of focus, a lot of hard work, and a person will be very successful under retention. And it just makes perfect sense that people are going to be drawn to that type of person because that person's a winner. And retention gives you the opportunity to learn how to control yourself, and now you can control the situations around you better too. All right, my friends, well, thank you for all the great comments. Thank you, King Uche. A shout out to you for on this one. Great topic to talk about, and I hope I gave you a little more of my insight on it. And until next time, guys, have a great day today. Have a wonderful couple days before Thanksgiving. We'll probably do one tomorrow at 900 days. And every day is a new day to a wise warrior. God bless you guys, and battle on.